Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the weekly show that brings you the top 5 digital and social media news you need to know for this week in less than 5 minutes. I'm Natchi Lazarus. This is the Connected Church news for leaders of non-profits, churches and faith-based organizations. This week we have news from Google, YouTube, video chat apps like Houseparty and Google Duo. We have news about organizations like Alcoholics Anonymous that are going online to take care of the social distancing problem. And finally, we wrap up this week with all the news related to coronavirus outbreak and digital and social media. All of this in less than 5 minutes. Now let's get started. Our first big news is from Google. Google announced last week that Google Podcasts are now available on iOS devices as well. So if you are an Apple iPhone user, you can now download Google Podcasts app and start listening to them. And Google also announced that subscriptions are now available through Google Podcast on the web. So Google's basically making sure that podcasts are available on all the platforms. And in a time as this, podcasts are a great way to learn new things, to stay in touch with the current trends in your industry and in your area of work and so on. I'm a big fan of podcasts, so I highly recommend you check it out. I also like Google Podcasts user interface. It's very clean and easy to use, so do check it out. Our next big news is from YouTube. Last week, Bloomberg made an announcement that YouTube will limit its video quality around the world for a month. Earlier, we had made an announcement last week that even organizations like Netflix and Facebook are looking to reduce bandwidth. But this news from YouTube confirms that YouTube will default to standard definition or SD quality, not HD, but SD quality for this period. Now, there is an important inference for you and me as a church and ministry leader from this news. That is, the quality of video is secondary compared to the actual message going out. Because I know many ministries and leaders of non-profits, they give a lot of importance to the video quality. I agree, it's got to look good, your appearance is important, and shooting in high quality, high definition is very important. But what is more important is the message going out. Because even if you shoot in the highest definition possible, it's going to go out to people only in standard definition for this period, right? So what is more important is for you to get the message out there. So focus on that and go ahead and get that video done. Our next news is an interesting one from Alcoholics Anonymous. Last week, CNBC released an article that talked about how Alcoholics Anonymous meetings are being conducted online to overcome the social distancing problems and still be able to help people. The article says that there was a recent meeting that had 1,000 people attending virtually. And here is a quote from one person who attended that meeting saying, "I don't know what I would have done if I had been in this situation when we didn't have access to virtual meetings." So I wanted to bring this news to your notice to show how you as a non-profit or a ministry, I know many of you listening to me are involved in ministries like this where you are helping people by being there for them for counseling and so on. So if you are in a ministry like that, start thinking about online, how you can innovate, how you can use tools and still be available for people to be a blessing to them. So you don't have to stop what you're doing. You just have to think about creative ways of making this happen. So check out this article. I will link to it in the show notes. You will find it very, very interesting. Our next news is about video chat apps. Last week, there was an article about 12 people being allowed to be on a group call in Google's video chat app called Google Duo. And I also wanted to bring to your notice that apps like Houseparty, so if you haven't checked it out, check it out. It's called Houseparty. The apps like that are also gaining extreme popularity in a time like this. So while Zoom is focusing on professional calls between organizations and work at home people, apps like this, like Google Duo and Houseparty, are starting to become very popular among personal users who are wanting to have quick calls with family and friends. And even you as a ministry can think of ways to use these apps for calling each other and having quicker and smoother communication. Our final news item is a roundup of various news items related to coronavirus and digital media. This week, we look at LinkedIn, that is giving tips on how to share your insights and experiences during this time of COVID-19. We are also looking at various features of Instagram that were newly launched specifically for this coronavirus situation. Features like being able to watch a video or a saved footage or an image along with your friends and so on. We also have news from Snapchat and Google and Facebook and so on. So do check out all the collection of news items. Well, that's all I have for you this week. Thank you for joining me. I really appreciate it. If you like to dig deeper into any of the stories we talked about, or you want to access the news roundup article links, we've got all those links and details in our news page, natchilazarus.com/news. Do check it out, and please share this with other people who might be interested in learning more about digital and social media news in less than 5 minutes. I will see you next week with another set of news items. Until then, you stay connected, stay blessed, and stay safe wherever you are. God bless you. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.